What's up guys, Artem MMA Analysis here, going to be talking about UFC on ABC 3, Ortega versus Rodriguez, and I'm really looking forward to this card. I think it's going to be a pretty good one, especially that main card, and there's a couple of really good prelim fights. Just a little disclaimer, I've got so many underdog picks on this card, so for you guys that say that all I do is pick favourites, I've got a video for you guys, man. I'm picking so many underdogs on this card. I'm really worried it's going to blow up in my face, and it potentially could. A crash and burn. I mean, a lot of these guys are probably favorites for a reason, but if you guys don't know by now, I don't make predictions based on the odds. I don't pick someone because I feel like the odds are a little bit too wide. I make my picks based on who I think is going to win. So hopefully this all works out for me, and I don't look like an idiot. And just another one is, as always, you can get a 125% sign up bonus with BetUS with the link below. So if you put $10 in, BetUS is going to give you $12.50. So you get $22.50 out of that $10. So as always, let's just get into the predictions. I don't want to waste too much more time. That was a 1 minute intro, so that was too long already. But Jessica Penne versus Emily Ducote to start off the card. Jessica Penne, she made a pretty big comeback. After about like 4 years, almost 4 years after losing to Danielle Taylor by decision, she come back. She fought Lupita Godinez, won by split decision by pushing her up against the cage and kind of using her grappling like that. It was a somewhat controversial decision, to be fair, but then she come back and she did submit Karolina Kowalkiewicz only 10 months ago. Now, Emily Ducote, she's a somewhat hyped up prospect from Invicta, in my opinion. I feel like maybe there's a little bit too much hype behind her, but if she beats Jessica Penne, then I will definitely be paying a lot more attention. But Ducote, I feel like she really got her name on the map when she knocked out Danielle Taylor. She knocked her out with a right cross, and then Danielle Taylor was pretty much knocked out on her feet. The ref didn't stop it, so she threw a head kick. Down goes Danielle Taylor, KO win for Emily Ducote, and that is the last lady to defeat Jessica Penne. So I guess that's a pretty impressive win, and maybe why they've made this matchup. It's also somewhat short notice. I mean, they're still going to get a full training camp about it. This matchup was announced on June the 2nd. So I don't know if that helps anyone there, but both ladies are black belts in Jiu-Jitsu. Ducote got her a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu very recently, and past the victory. Ducote's definitely a lot better on the feet, a much better striker in my opinion. Jessica Penne, the better grappler, although Ducote and Penne, as I said, do have black belts in Jiu-Jitsu. Jessica Penne, if she wants to win this fight, she's really going to have to push Ducote up against the cage and look for takedowns, because that's the key to beating Ducote. I mean, that's how Kanako Murata last defeated her about 2.5 years ago, which is constantly training takedowns together. Although Ducote does have really, really good takedown defense, if you keep training takedowns together, if you keep pushing her up against the cage, you are going to find success, and that is what Kanako Murata did, and it's what I'm predicting Jessica Penne to do. I mean, I don't feel confident picking an almost 40-year-old female fighter. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. Jessica Penne is almost 40 years old. How am I making this prediction? But I am. I am picking Jessica Penne to win a decision, and I can't be confident there. But it's just, it's what I'm picking, man. Yeah, I know there's a path to victory for Ducote, and I respect everyone picking her, and also respect everyone picking Penne, but I've got to go with Penne as the underdog in this one here. Dwight Grant versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Dwight Grant, quite a few red flags in this fight, and I don't like seeing red flags when I'm looking at fights. Dwight Grant got knocked out by Sergey Kondozko about 5 weeks ago at 170. Now he's taking a fight up a weight class at 185 against Dustin Stoltzfus, who I guess a lot of people are thinking of as a grappler, but this guy does also have KO power on the feet. He's probably not going to knock someone out with one shot in the UFC, but he's got power in the hands, man. Like, he's got 2 KO wins, he's got 5 submission wins, and one of those submission wins is worth noted to be a twister win against a guy that was 9-4, and that's probably what really got him on the map before he fought on Dana White's Contender Series against Joseph Pyfer. Joseph Pyfer has a fight on Dana White's Contender Series this year. He's getting a second opportunity against another guy called Ozzy Diaz, who come from LFA. But anyway, that's so off topic, I'm sorry. But anyway, point is, Dustin Stoltzfus, he's got a pretty good win over Joseph Pyfer on Dana White's Contender Series, but since he's come into the UFC, he really hasn't been able to put it together. Lost to Ducote in a loss that hasn't aged too well, to be fair. Lost to Rodolfo Vieira. Once again, the loss hasn't aged that well. And but that's it off of Vera though, you know, you can respect that one. And then he's lost to Gerald Meerschaert, and Gerald Meerschaert, you know, although he's been on a bit of a win streak recently and he's been putting things together, it's still not the greatest loss to have, in my opinion, you know. But I did pick Meerschaert to win that one. Dustin Stoltzfus, though, I am picking him to win this one. He's fighting Dwight Grant, man. And call me a hater. You can call me a hater all you want in the comments. But I've never been too impressed by Dwight Grant, you know. In the time that I've had my UFC channel, I picked him to lose against Ducote. I picked him to lose against Trinaldo. I picked him... I didn't have a YouTube channel when he fought Sekulic, but the point is, you know, Dwight Grant, everyone talks about his KO power, but this guy has one KO win in the UFC, and that was in 2019, and then even then, all of the wins that he's got in the UFC are over guys that aren't in the UFC anymore. It's like a Greg Hardy situation where all of his wins were over guys that aren't in the UFC anymore. So I'm gonna pick Stoltzfus. I know he's got no wins in the UFC at all, but I think that he should be able to beat Dwight Grant here. He's going to be a little bit bigger. I know Dwight Grant is a huge 170-pound fighter, but 5 weeks notice, well, 5 weeks since he got KO'd, short notice fight. I don't like it, man. Give me Stoltzfus, and give me Stoltzfus by decision or submission later on. Now, Bill Algeo versus Herbert Burns. Herbert Burns, pretty good grappler in his own right, just like his brother Gilbert, sorry. He's got really good jiu-jitsu, but he's really a round one or bust guy. You know, he gets finishes early on, and if he doesn't, then he kind of gasses, and that's exactly what happened against Daniel Pineda. In the second round, he just gassed. All of a sudden, his gas tank just completely fell off, and Bill Algeo has proven to be a guy that can go 3 rounds, and he can go a pretty hard 3 rounds if he wants to, you know. So he beat Spike Carlisle in a fight that he come back from by decision, and then he beat Joanderson Brito by decision, and that win has aged pretty well since Brito recently just knocked out Andre Fili. So that's pretty cool. And even then, he's got such a big size advantage. He's going to be 6 foot tall as a 145-pound fighter, and Herbert Burns is 5'9". Even then, Herbert Burns missed weight in his last one too. He hasn't fought for 2 years. If he exits the first round, Bill Algeo, he should be able to take over this fight on the feet, man. Give me a decision. Or even a late, like, 2nd or 3rd round finish if Burns does end up gassing. A really good fight, Ricky Simone versus Jack Shore. I see a lot of people picking Simone. I see a lot of people picking Jack Shore. Give me Ricky Simone. I'm picking Ricky Simone as the underdog. As soon as this fight was actually announced, I actually picked Ricky Simone in my head. And in a couple of group chats that I'm in, I was talking about that, and I was thinking, you know what, I do believe Ricky Simone is maybe too much of a jump up for Jack Shore. But what's so crazy about this guy is Jack Shore has never lost a fight. He's undefeated in pro. Yes, obviously everyone knows that. He's 16-0. But he went 12-0 as an amateur. So that's crazy, man. And the guy that potentially could take that O, I believe, is Ricky Simone. Now, Ricky Simone, he originally started off as more of like a very grappling heavy style, but he showed in his fight against Rafael Assunção, I know it is Assunção, who was almost 40 years old, but his striking is so much better than it was even when he fought, I would say even when he fought Kelleher, to be honest. It's just improved so much recently, so he's really been working on his striking, and I do believe that he is the better striker than Jack Shore. And Jack Shore, you know, he's a bit of he's kind of a grinder, you know, he does look to grapple, and in a lot of close decisions, he really has had to rely on that grappling to win. You know, he had quite a close fight with Timur Valiev. A lot of people were picking Timur Valiev, but I did pick Shore to win that one. He had I think he fought Ludwig Shulinian, who I would say probably isn't the highest level UFC opponent there. A split decision to Hunter Azura, because Hunter Azura is a pretty good wrestler himself. And yeah, like a lot of these close decisions, a lot of people were actually thinking that maybe he didn't actually win that fight. Some people were scoring it for other people. So Jack Shore has been in very close fights against guys that aren't the level of Ricky Simone. And Ricky Simone, I believe he was a ranked fighter at one point. I don't think he's got his ranking anymore, but a win over Jack Shore would really boost the stock over of Ricky Simone. I am picking him to win this one as the underdog. I don't really know how much to really explain it like that, man. That's just what I think it is. I think Ricky Simone should be able to nullify the takedown attempts of Jack Shore. I think he should be able to keep it out on the feet. And I think, believe it or not, that's where Ricky Simone is going to win the fight, is on the feet. Jack Shore, I think he's going to be really trying to find those takedowns, and I just don't think he's going to get them. So give me Simone. Give me Simone by decision. Really good test, honestly, though, for both guys. Both Jack Shore and Ricky Simone really getting tested in this fight. Punahele Soriano versus Dolce Lungwimbula. I'm not too sure why this is above Ricky Simone and Jack Shaw on the card, but it is. So Punahele Soriano, man, he was such a hyped up prospect coming into the UFC. You know, he beat Jamie Pickett by decision, but then he knocked out Oscar Piechota. He knocked out Ducote, who was undefeated at the time. But then he lost to Brendan Allen, and Brendan Allen, to everyone's surprise, kind of outstruck him on the feet. And then he got out-wrestled by Nick Maximov in a very competitive fight. Based on damage, he probably could have scored it for Punahele Soriano, but I'm gonna proudly say I picked Nick Maximov to win that fight. I did, so I'm pretty happy with that pick. I think that was an underdog pick as well. Nick Maximov, I believe he was the dog, but Chongliang Wimbula, really big, muscular guy. You know, he's 5'8". This guy is built so differently, and what is so amazing about Chongliang Wimbula is that his out of UFC competition is actually very high level. You know, he fought Stilt Austin, who is in PFL right now, in 2017, and then he beat this guy who was 16-3 before coming into the UFC, and he beat Alan Bardo, the GOAT, Alan Bardo, in 26 seconds, and he's in the UFC. I don't know if he's been cut or not, but he sorry. I completely forgot about that fight. The GOAT, Alan Bardo. How did Alan Bardo get signed when he just lost? And now he's... Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Alan Bardo probably is the greatest fighter of all time. Anyway, the point is I'm picking Punahele Soriano to win. Chongliang Wimbula, he showed somewhat terrible fight IQ against Cody Brundage. He was beating Cody Brundage up so badly. And, you know, all he had to do was just keep it on the feet and just throw some more power strikes, and the referee would have stopped it. But he decided to shoot for a double leg takedown, leave his neck out, and Brundage snapped up a guillotine choke. Lost to Marc-Andre Barriault. That doesn't really fill me with much confidence. Yeah, you know, like, I don't know. Chongliang Wimbula, man, he had such a good out of UFC run, you know, against some pretty good competition. I mean, he did beat one of the greatest fighters to ever step in the cage in Alan Bardo in 26 seconds, you know, but Punahele Soriano, I mean, both guys are going to be throwing leather on the feet. It's going to be crazy, but I think Chongliang Wimbula, he's probably going to gas out in the first or second round, and I think Soriano should probably find at least a decision or a finish in the second or third round. So give me Soriano, finish in the second or third, or a decision win, in my opinion. Lauren Murphy versus Miesha Tate. Now, what is so incredible about this fight here is these two women are probably the highest ranked fighters on the card, but this is the lowest level fight on the card, and I don't even know if it's competitive. I would say even Ducote and Penne is probably a more high level fight than whatever this is. This is a joke, mate. Okay, like, honestly, Miesha Tate, okay, you watch Miesha Tate versus Ketlin Vieira and watch the first round. Miesha Tate comes out with the most hilarious karate stance I've ever seen. It is absolutely brutal. Like, I was laughing and I just couldn't take her seriously. Like, she's fighting like sideways like a Wonder Boy. And the thing is, like, with Lauren Murphy as well, you know, she's fought 20 times and she still has no idea what she's doing. Like, you watch the build up, not even the fight, you watch the build up to Shevchenko and you watch the build up, UFC Embedded, and she's throwing punches incorrectly. Like, I've kickboxed for a few years. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I've done quite a bit of kickboxing in my time, and it's just not how you throw a punch, you know. But hey, man, like, I've had so many surgeries. I've had 2 surgeries on my shoulder, 2 on my jaw. I can't do that anymore. But Lauren Murphy, like, she's throwing punches from her hips, and she's been training for years. Like, oh my god, that's just so hard to watch. So it really comes down to who do I think knows what they're doing more, and that's probably Miesha Tate. Lauren Murphy genuinely looks like she's got no clue what she's doing in that cage. It amazes me that she went on a win streak. I mean, split decision to Joanne Wood, which I think she lost. She submitted Lilia Shakirova. I don't even know if she's still in the UFC. Beat Roxanne Modafferi, who is a veteran of the sport. You know, I do give her respect, but yeah, she was never really anything too special. Split decision to Andrea Lee, which a lot of people think Andrea Lee won as well. Like, oh my gosh, she's got no idea what she's doing. And neither does Miesha Tate, but give me Miesha Tate, and then when she wins, she's going to call out Shevchenko. Oh my god. Okay, so when Miesha Tate wins, she's going to call out Valentina Shevchenko, and the sad thing is, Valentina Shevchenko wants to fight Miesha Tate because she's under the delusion that Miesha Tate is a pay-per-view draw. Unbelievable. unbelievable to me, to be honest. But anyway, let's get into a real good fight. Shane Bogos versus Charles Jourdain. Give me Shane Bogos to win this one. He's just impressed me more recently. Even in his losses, he was having a pretty good fight with Edson Barboza. But then Edson Barboza hit him with that really scary KO blow. But he took a very appropriate time off. He took 5 months off. And then he beat Billy Quarantillo by a decision. That was probably one of the fights of the year, actually, 7 months ago. Potentially the fights of the year of 2021 just got overruled so much by another fight that was on the card. I think that was the same card that Gilbert Burns and Khamzat Chimaev fought on. Am I correct in saying that? Or was it Michael Chandler? It was Michael Chandler and Justin Gaethje. Everyone was so hyped up about that. But this fight here between Billy Quarantillo and Shane Bogos was so awesome. Yeah, very underrated, very underappreciated fight. I'm just checking to see if Billy Quarantillo, he hasn't got a fight booked. But anyway, very, very good fight with Quarantillo. He won that one there. Lost to Josh Emmett. I mean, Josh Emmett's potentially fighting for a title soon. I'll talk about that in the main event later. But yeah, he should get it done over Charles Jourdain. He just has impressed me a little bit more than Charles Jourdain did. Yes, he got a really good guillotine choke, but Veneta, you know, he left his neck out there to get snatched, and Jourdain snatched it. You know, Andre Ewell, bantamweight coming up, and even then he wasn't that great at bantamweight. Yeah, like, no disrespect to Charles Jourdain, he's always going to put on exciting fighters, and there's so much hype around this guy. But I think Shane Bogos is just too much of a step up in competition. Like, this is a really big step up in competition for Charles Jourdain, and I feel like there probably could have been a guy in the middle that they would have given Jourdain, but I feel like maybe they're just trying to capitalize so much on Jourdain's hype right now to get him in the rankings. But I think this is too much too soon for Jourdain. Give me Shane Bogos to win, and I think he should win a decision or maybe even a knockout. But give me a decision for Bogos, but I think it should be a pretty competitive. Now, oh my god, okay, so Matt Schnell versus Sumana Jiri. This is the fight which I've been on the fence for the longest. I've been so not sure on who to pick, man, and I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it. This is the Tresean Gore versus Cody Brundage fight of last week, where I picked Cody Brundage in my initial video. I haven't got an initial video this week, I don't think. No, I haven't. So I picked Cody Brundage in my initial video, but everyone around me was picking Tresean Gore. Everyone was talking so much hype about Tresean Gore, and I still didn't really believe in it, but all of my final picks are on my Instagram, and I picked Tresean Gore on my Instagram, and I just had to live with that guilt, man, of changing my pick, and I'm not changing my pick. I'm picking Matt Schnell. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm picking Matt Schnell on this one here, and everyone's picking Sumana Jiri, but it just comes down to one thing, and it's just that Sumana Jiri, he hasn't impressed me all that much. So you look at his last win over Zaruk Adeshev, not in the UFC anymore. Malcolm Gordon has somehow ended up on a win streak right now. Like, I have no idea how, but he has. And then Andre Sukumtat, not in the UFC anymore. Lewis Smoker, loss by submission, potentially not in the UFC anymore. I think he might still be on the roster, but he might have been cut. I think he has been cut, actually, sorry. And Hoban Ma, submission loss. And Sumana Jiri, one thing you're going to notice about this guy is 4 losses by submission. Matt Schnell, really good on the ground, but as Cody from Blood Money MMA Bets did actually mention to me, and I do appreciate the fact that he did say this, was that a lot of Matt Schnell's submissions are off his back. Like, he submitted Jordan Espinoza with triangle choke, he submitted Lewis Mocker with triangle choke, and whereas Matthew Rizzo as well in the Ultimate Fighter off a triangle choke, but he does have an armbar win in 2016 if you really want to look into that. But one thing that is so worrying about Matt Schnell is he's fallen in love with his hands, and I don't know if I can trust that, but he did knock down Brandon Royval, and then just kind of ended up in a submission there. But he's got 9 wins by submission. He's got 3 losses by submission himself, and 3 losses by KO. But Sumana Jiri, 4 losses by submission. Matt Schnell, please wrestle. Please grapple. Matt Schnell, you don't have the chin to stand with Sumana Jiri. Sumana Jiri, he does have KO power. He did KO Malcolm Gordon, which is somehow ended up being a good win. And, he did knock down Brandon Royval, but I think it's time to use the wrestling, Matt. I know he may not have the greatest wrestling in the world. A lot of people talk about how he's got really good jiu-jitsu, but maybe his wrestling itself isn't that great. But Sumana Jiri's takedown defense is pretty suspect. I don't think Andre Shukumtar attempted a takedown. Malcolm Gordon didn't get the opportunity to take him down. And Zaruk Adashev isn't going to take him down. He's a kickboxer. So, yeah, you know, the one time he did go down in the UFC, he was submitted. So hopefully Mitch now sees that, and hopefully Mitch now looks for a submission. Give me Mitch now a pretty big underdog pick. I believe he's more than plus 200 right now. And I'm riding with that pick. Just don't let me down. Don't fall in love with your hands, man. Please go for a submission. Please wrestle or grapple. Just do something, please. Now the Chongliang versus Muslim Salakov. I've been campaigning for a ranked opponent for Muslim Salakov for a while now. You know, he's on a really good win streak, but the problem is with this guy, he just doesn't fight often enough, and he's 38 years old. Now, by the time that his ranked opponent has come around, and it is the Leech, I think it's too late. Muslim Salakov's 38 years old. He didn't look absolutely incredible over Goat Naldo, who's like 44 years old at the moment. Split decision win over Elizeu Zaleski. The Leech ran through Elizeu Zaleski, knocked him out. And Laureano Staropoli, that's not a good win. You know, he went in like a 5-fight losing streak and then got cut. Nordine Taleb, don't believe he's in the UFC anymore. Ricky Rainey, I don't think's in the UFC anymore either. The Leech Chongliang, I mean, he fought Khamzat Chimaev, got destroyed by him, but that's just kind of what happens when you fight Chimaev and you're just not ready. You know, not saying that the Leech wasn't ready, because so he was the first ranked opponent that Chimaev fought, but we found out that Chimaev is probably a top 5 guy in the welterweight division at least. You know, he's probably going to be fighting Colby Covington next as well, but knocked out Santiago Ponzinibbio in his comeback fight. Yeah, just give me the Leech by KO, man. That's what I'm trying to say. Give me the Leech Chongliang by KO. I'm going to pick it, man. Salakov, really good kung fu fighter, really good striker. He does have grappling himself. But I think the Leech is a big boy, you know. He's 6 foot with a reach advantage, and he's got power. He's got power in those hands, and I think he's going to use it. So give me the Leech by KO. I think he does beat Muslim Salakov in this one here. Michelle Waterson versus Amanda Lemos. Well, one thing that has been brought up to my attention by someone, I can't remember his name though, man. But Michelle Waterson, you know, she's been filming for Netflix movies. I don't think she's taking her training very seriously anymore, and there's only one more fight on her contract, and this is it. I think Michelle Waterson fights, loses, and retires in this one here. So it was Any Action Sportscast that mentioned that to me, that Michelle Waterson is she's doing movies now. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know if Michelle Waterson has got it anymore. You know, and I mean, she never really was incredible as a fighter, but she hasn't fought for over a year. She's 36 years old. She's probably looking at starting a family or continuing her movie career. One fight left on her contract. I think she retires after this one. And I think Amanda Lemos beats her too. Amanda Lemos was looking pretty good against Jessica Andrade for a bit before she ended up getting submitted pretty early on. But she beat Angela Hill by split decision, but she has got KO wins. I don't know if she KOs Michelle Waterson, but I think Lemos definitely wins anyway. What I'm trying to say is just a few red flags on the Michelle Waterson side. So give me Amanda Lemos to win this one here. She's a huge favourite though. Now getting to the main event, really hyped for this one, and as I mentioned earlier, I was going to say something about a title shot on the line potentially here for Yair Rodriguez. Now Yair Rodriguez has been saying that he's going to get a title shot off a win over Brian Ortega, which is interesting to me, because I do believe, you know, Josh Emmett, I don't believe Josh Emmett actually won that fight, but I do believe he probably is more deserving than Yair. You know, like Josh Emmett's on a pretty good win streak right now. He's 37 years old. It's kind of now or never for him, really. But, yeah, I believe that the UFC wants Yair Rodriguez to be the champion because they recently built a UFC Performance Institute in Mexico, and it's actually the MMA guru that brought that up. So, I'll give him his credit for that one there, but I do believe that Brian Ortega is going to win. I think he's going to get it done by submission. That is my pick. I do understand why someone would be picking Yair Rodriguez. I think he's got a great chance to win this one, but I will be going with Brian Ortega. I do think that he should end up locking up some sort of submission. You know, he's called T-City for a reason. He's got insane jiu-jitsu. He locks stuff in. Like, he had a couple of submissions locked in on Alexander Volkanovski, but you guys know Alexander Volkanovski ain't having for nothing. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. But the winner of this fight, I feel like, probably gets a title eliminator against Arnold Allen, potentially. I think that might make sense. And then the loser of this fight maybe fights Calvin Kattar, or maybe fights like Movsar Evloev or something like that. But yeah, that's kind of what I'll do with this fight. It's just a weird one, you know, because we recently had Josh Emmett versus Calvin Kattar, and now we've got Ortega versus Rodriguez, and I think maybe Emmett should get the title shot, but because Volk's got a broken hand, maybe they can do an interim title and have Volk come back for that. But yeah, it's a tough one, you know, you don't know what's going to happen, but Rodriguez did lose to Holloway, but he looked really good against Holloway on the feet. I mean, Holloway had to use his wrestling, and that one I brought that up quite a bit in my Volkanovski breakdown against Holloway. Was that Holloway, you know, he wasn't having the most success against Rodriguez, and I thought that Volkanovski would be able to exploit that a little bit more. I thought Volkanovski was going to look for a lot more takedowns than he did in that fight, and he didn't. But it is what it is. But yeah, that's the thing with Rodriguez. He's taken so much time off. You know, that was his first fight in over 2 years. Looks really good against Holloway, which I guess, I don't know how much weight that's going to hold. We're going to find out, though, because Holloway has taken so much damage in his career. You know, I don't know. Potentially, maybe we see it start to go down a little bit for him, but we'll see. Brian Ortega, though, I mean, like, the thing is, I say that because Holloway has actually absorbed the most significant strikes in UFC history. Absorbed. He's dished out the most, but he's absorbed the most. So that chin's going to give out one day. That's not the point. And the same, speaking of chins as well, man, there's so much rambling in this video. Brian Ortega's chin is going to give out one day too, you know. He's got a crazy chin. He didn't get finished by Holloway. Oh, he did get finished by Holloway, sorry. That was more of a doctor stoppage though, but he probably wasn't going to get finished by Holloway. He took so much damage in that one, and then he took so much damage against Volkanovski as well. And he probably should have been stopped at the end of the third round because he couldn't actually get to a stall by himself, and that is a TKO. TKO loss, but I mean, I don't know, the officials just didn't judge that, so they just let him keep fighting. So Ortega's taken so much damage recently, but that jiu-jitsu, man, that grappling, I think he's going to actually look for takedowns against Yair, or even if Yair throws a lot of kicks as well, I think Ortega probably will be looking to catch some kicks, or dive in some takedowns, dive in on a guillotine like he did against Volkanovski. And yeah, I think he's going to get the neck somehow. I think Yair Rodriguez is probably going to get submitted in this one here. I think maybe Brian Ortega might even get a rear naked choke. Does he have a rear naked choke win in the UFC? Because I think I might be predicting the first rear naked choke win for Ortega in the UFC. Yeah, that's it. Let's go. Oh no, he does, but that was when he was on roids. Okay, so the first non-roided rear naked choke win for Brian Ortega is what I'm picking. So yeah, I'll leave you at that. If you like the video, please subscribe. So much rambling on this video. I'm sorry. I'm going through a lot outside of YouTube right now, man. I just didn't have the time to write up a script, and I kind of thought I'd just freestyle this video. I knew who I was picking anyway, so hopefully I didn't do a terrible job. I did do my research on this card though, but one thing that I'm so mad about is that Hussein Eskabov isn't fighting. But hey, man, hopefully we get another fight for him, and we'll see us all in the next one.